This transparent proclamation establishes the essence of the content, clarifying its origins from the vast realms of the Internet. The creator, in a gesture of pure transparency, asserts the video's foundation on pre-existing knowledge, emphasizing its educational and non-violent essence to the audience. San Antonio, Texas, a city known for its charm and warmth, but beneath the surface, a storm brewed. Bill Hall Jr., a successful entrepreneur, seemed to have it all. A loving wife, Frances, and a thriving business. Yet behind this facade, a secret simmered. Bill was entangled in a passionate affair with Bonnie Contreras, a woman 20 years his junior. This dangerous triangle set the stage for a tragedy that would forever stain the streets of San Antonio. Bill Hall Jr. was a titan in the San Antonio business world. His trucking company thrived, a testament to his ambition and drive. But beneath this veneer of success, a secret life unfurled. Bill's affair with Bonnie Contreras was no mere fling. He was a man torn, living a double life that could not last. Bonnie Contreras, young and captivated by Bill's charm, found herself swept away by the whirlwind of their affair. Bill painted a picture of a future together, a life free from the constraints of his marriage. Blinded by the allure of luxury and the intensity of their connection, Bonnie clung to the hope of becoming Bill's wife. She was a woman in love, or so she believed, willing to risk everything for a man who promised her the world. But Bonnie was walking a dangerous path, one that would lead to heartbreak and ultimately tragedy. Bonnie Contreras' entry into Bill's life was more than a romantic affair. It was a seismic shift that left no one unscathed. Bill spoiled Bonnie with extravagant gifts, from flashy cars to cosmetic surgeries, in a bid to keep their secret relationship alive. Bonnie was convinced that Bill would eventually leave Frances for her, a belief that blinded her to the heartbreaking reality. Her intense relationship with Bill not only stoked her desires, but also set her on a collision course with Frances. She was a woman standing on the precipice of a tragedy, unaware of the devastating consequences that awaited her. The love triangle between Bill, Frances, and Bonnie was more than a simple affair. It was a complex mix of emotions, promises, and deception. Bill's inability to choose between his wife and mistress, Frances's determination to hold on to her marriage, and Bonnie's belief in a future that was not meant to be, all contributed to a tension that was bound to explode. Whispers of Bill and Bonnie's affair reached Frances, planting seeds of doubt and fueling her suspicions. Confrontations ensued, charged with anger, hurt, and desperation. The delicate balance of their lives was on the verge of collapse. Each decision, each interaction, pushed them closer to the brink. San Antonio, Texas, known for its tranquility, was forever changed on the afternoon of October 10, 2013. An ordinary day quickly spiraled into a horrific episode of fury and jealousy on wheels. At the center of this chaos was Frances Hall, whose rage upon seeing her husband Bill and his mistress Bonnie Contreras together sparked a chain of events leading to disaster. Behind the wheel of her Cadillac Escalade, Frances initiated a high-speed chase that tragically ended with the death of Bill Hall Jr. The tranquility of the San Antonio streets was shattered, replaced by the roar of engines and the screech of tires. The events of that day would forever be etched in the city's memory. It started when Frances spotted Bill on his Harley-Davidson motorcycle and Bonnie driving closely behind in what was Frances's own Range Rover. Overwhelmed by anger, Frances spun her car around and sped off, initiating a high-speed pursuit that would only end in disaster. The adrenaline-fueled chase wound its way through the streets of San Antonio, leaving onlookers stunned and terrified. Witnesses watched in disbelief as the Escalade, driven with a furious intensity, closed the distance between itself and the motorcycle. Each passing second brought them closer to a point of no return. The love triangle was a tinderbox, and whispers of Bill and Bonnie's affair were the sparks. Rumors spread like wildfire through San Antonio, eventually reaching Frances's ears. Frances, a woman known for her strength and resilience, refused to believe the rumors at first. But doubt, like an insidious weed, began to take root in her heart. The foundation of her marriage, once seemingly unbreakable, began to tremble beneath her feet.
Bill, we need to talk. I can't ignore this anymore.
What are you talking about, Frances? There's nothing going on.
Don't lie to me, Bill. I know about you and Bonnie.
The tension, thick and suffocating, finally reached its breaking point. Frances, no longer able to ignore the truth, confronted Bill about the affair. The confrontation was explosive, a volatile mix of anger, hurt, and accusations. The days following the confrontation were a blur of raw emotions. Frances grappled with the betrayal, her love for Bill warring with the searing pain of his infidelity. Bonnie, fueled by promises and blinded by love, clung to the hope of a future with Bill. Bill, caught in the crossfire, found himself unable to escape the consequences of his actions. The love triangle had transformed into a ticking time bomb, primed for disaster. The Escalade, a hulking symbol of Frances's fury, closed in on Bill's motorcycle. Time seemed to slow to a crawl. Onlookers gasped, their hearts pounding in their chests. Then, the inevitable happened. Metal met metal with a sickening crunch. Bill, thrown from his motorcycle, tumbled through the air like a rag doll. The world seemed to hold its breath. Frances, her face a mask of shock and disbelief, stumbled out of the Escalade. Her eyes darted to the crumpled figure of her husband lying motionless on the asphalt. Reality crashed down on her with the force of a tidal wave. Bonnie, her initial terror giving way to a chilling realization, sat frozen in the driver's seat of the Range Rover. The love triangle, once a whispered rumor, had exploded into a nightmare of their own making. The sound of sirens pierced the air, a chilling soundtrack to the unfolding drama. News of the crash spread through San Antonio like wildfire. Friends, family, and even casual acquaintances struggled to comprehend the tragedy. The community, once a tapestry of interconnected lives, was now irrevocably torn. Whispers of the love triangle, once hushed and speculative, now echoed through the streets. The incident on that fateful afternoon sent shockwaves through the city. San Antonio mourned the loss of Bill Hall Jr., a prominent businessman and a fixture in the community. Flags flew at half-mast, a visible symbol of the collective grief. Friends and family gathered, seeking solace in shared memories and offering words of comfort. But the pain of loss was raw, a gaping wound that refused to heal. The incident on that fateful October day left an enduring scar on the city of San Antonio. The air in San Antonio was thick with grief and disbelief. News of Bill Hall Jr.'s death spread like wildfire, leaving a city in shock. His sudden and tragic demise left many reeling. Conversations revolved around the shocking incident and the heartbreaking loss. Bill Hall Jr.'s name was now intertwined with a tale of infidelity, rage, and a fatal chase. The community mourned, questioned, and speculated. The incident served as a stark reminder that life could change in an instant. The whispers that had circulated about Bill, Frances, and Bonnie now took on a new urgency. Speculation ran rampant as the community grappled with the circumstances surrounding Bill's death. The love triangle, once a subject of hushed gossip, became the focal point of the unfolding tragedy. Fingers pointed, accusations flew, and the court of public opinion wasted no time in passing judgment. Some sympathized with Frances, painting her as a scorned wife driven to a desperate act. Others condemned her, believing her actions were fueled by jealousy and rage. Bonnie Contreras, once a shadowy figure in the background, was thrust into the harsh glare of the spotlight. She became a lightning rod for criticism, her name forever linked to the scandal and the fatal chase. The community, hungry for answers, dissected every detail of the love triangle, seeking to understand the events leading up to the tragedy. The incident had exposed the raw underbelly of their community, revealing the hidden tensions and the devastating consequences of secrets and betrayals. As the investigation began, the whispers turned to accusations, setting the stage for a legal battle that would captivate the city. In the aftermath of the crash, investigators descended upon the scene, determined to piece together the events that led to Bill Hall Jr.'s untimely demise. The wreckage of the Escalade, the mangled remains of Bill's motorcycle, and the skid marks etched into the asphalt all served as silent witnesses to the tragic events. Eyewitness accounts, fragmented and often contradictory, added to the puzzle. Some claim to have seen Frances pursuing Bill with a terrifying intensity, her vehicle a weaponized extension of her rage. Others described a chaotic scene, a high-speed chase with no clear indication of intent. The investigation, meticulous and thorough, focused on the physical evidence and the tangled relationships at the heart of the tragedy. Detectives interviewed friends, family members, and anyone who had crossed paths with Bill, Frances, and Bonnie in the weeks and months leading up to the fatal crash. The weight of evidence, slowly and painstakingly gathered, began to paint a clearer picture of the events that culminated in Bill's death. The love triangle, once a matter of speculation, was now an undeniable element of the case, a dangerous game of desire and betrayal with fatal consequences. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation. The trial of Frances Hall, a woman once known for her quiet strength, had become a media spectacle. Cameras flashed, capturing her every move as she entered the courtroom, her face etched with a mixture of grief and defiance. The charge: murder.
The prosecution, armed with a meticulously constructed case, presented Frances as a woman scorned, driven by jealousy to commit a calculated act of violence. They argued that the high-speed chase, the collision, and ultimately, Bill's death were the result of her premeditated rage.
The defense countered with a narrative of a wife betrayed, a woman pushed to the brink by her husband's infidelity. They argued that Frances, in a state of shock and despair, had simply snapped on that fateful day. Her actions a tragic consequence of a heart broken by betrayal.
The courtroom became a stage for a battle of narratives, a clash between love and loss, rage and remorse. The jury, tasked with the daunting responsibility of sifting through the emotional wreckage, listened intently as the prosecution and defense presented their cases. The fate of Frances Hall, once a pillar of the community, now rested in their hands.
Crimes of passion. The trial of Frances Hall hinged on a single phrase: crimes of passion. The defense argued that Frances's actions were not premeditated.
They painted a picture of a woman driven to the brink by her husband's infidelity.
The prosecution emphasized the calculated nature of the high-speed chase.
They argued that Frances made a conscious choice to harm her husband.
The courtroom became a battleground for competing interpretations of the law. The jury's verdict, delivered after days of deliberation, sent shockwaves through the courtroom. Frances Hall was found guilty, but on a lesser charge of manslaughter. The verdict, a compromise between the prosecution's demand for a murder conviction and the defense's plea for leniency, reflected the complexities of the case. Frances was sentenced to prison, a consequence of her actions on that fateful day. However, the sentence, significantly less severe than what she could have received, acknowledged the mitigating factors of the case, the overwhelming emotional distress, the history of betrayal, and the absence of prior criminal intent. The trial of Frances Hall, a gripping tale of love, betrayal, and tragedy, captivated San Antonio and beyond. The verdict, while providing a legal resolution to the case, did little to heal the wounds left by Bill's death. The community, forever marked by the tragedy, grappled with the fallout. The case served as a stark reminder of the complexities of human relationships, the destructive power of secrets, and the devastating consequences of choices made in the heat of passion. The dust has settled on the trial, but the scars of betrayal run deep. Frances Hall carries the weight of her actions, her life forever altered. The prison sentence marks a new chapter in her life, defined by remorse. Bonnie Contreras faces an uncertain future. The whispers and judgment follow her like a shadow. The weight of Bill's death casts a long shadow over her life. The Hall family navigates a landscape forever altered. The children bear the emotional scars of a fractured family. Their story underscores the fragility of love and the enduring impact of choices. San Antonio, known for its warmth and resilience, bears the weight of tragedy. The incident sparked conversations about love, betrayal, and life's fragility. The trial captivated the city, highlighting the destructive power of secrets. The city emerged with a renewed appreciation for communication and life. Even in adversity, hope and healing are possible, though the path is long.